This is our game, Dice Jack. It is very similar to Blackjack, but there are some little differences that we will be sure to mention. When before starting the game, it's key that the players select who they are, player 1 or player 2, and then click start. And that will stay consistent throughout the game. Once that's finished, player 1 will automatically be set to go first. Now player 1 is given the option to hit and stand. And the goal of the game, as similar to Blackjack, is to go and get 21 for your total score. Get 21 or close to 21 while keeping to account that you are risking going above that score, which would make you instantly lose the game. And at the same time, you're also competing against the opponent's score because you want to have a higher score than theirs while also being within or below 21. Now, the rules are basically all set out up here in the rule book, but besides that, that is the essential component of what the game should be about. Now, after the player has selected hit or stand, it will communicate back with ThinkSpeak, sending the data of both the score. It sends the score, it sends the player who went, and it will communicate that back to ThinkSpeak, which will be read by the opponent on another computer, and then that will determine that once that's gone through, then it's their turn to go.
Hello, my name is Azim and I will be doing the live demo for our game Dice Jack. So here you see two instances of our code running, one in the MATLAB app and one in the MATLAB online. And here's the GUI for our code. You can see the background and all, and you can click on the rules to view the rules real quick of how our game works. You can click OK to exit. So here you can see player 1 and player 2. So player 1 has to click start, and then player 2 has to select player 2 and click start. And then this is basically blackjack, so player 1 can hit. And then you see the score updating to 11 and the dice going to 1, and you can also hear the sound effect. A dice roll of 1 basically corresponds to a score of 11 in our game. And then player 2 can click hit and it goes to 11 also. And then it live updates for player 1 again, the opponent's score, and player 1 can hit again. It goes to 17, and then the score should update for player 2 now. And yes, you can see it goes to 17. And now player 2 hits again. It updates, player 1 hits, and it goes to 23. So player 2 can stand and win. So you can click stand for player 2. And yeah, it says a player has bested for player 1 and a player has bested for player 2. And you can see the live wins updating for both of them. So opponent wins goes to 1 because the opponent won, and for this one your wins goes to 1 because player 2 won. Now I will show you time when you can win by standing. So player 1 hits again to play a new round, goes to 3. Player 2 hits, it goes to 4. Then the score updates for player 1, and the player 1 clicks stand. Then player 2 kicks stand, and then it says a player has won again. And you can see the opponent win again because the opponent had more higher number of score. And here you can see player 2 wins because it has because player 2 won. And that's it for the live demo. Thank you.
And I'm going to be talking about the object-oriented programming part of this project. So I created a class called Score Manager to handle the scores of both projects in this .m script, and then we use properties to store the scores of player 1 and 2. And then within the game, instead of modifying the scores directly, we use the instance of Score Manager to handle all of the scores. And at the start of the game, we call an instance of Score Manager and we store it in app.scoremanager, and this is used in the rest of our program. So every time a player scores, we just upload their score by using the class instead of actually having any individual variables. This function here basically takes the data from our game and sends it to ThinkSpeak, And then we have a different function called wait for other player, which reads the latest opponent's score from ThinkSpeak. And then it checks whose turn it is based on field 3, and it updates the opponent's score in the app after it's done. And then we wait until the turn switches to the current player. Next, I'm going to talk about the sound part of our project. So currently we do have a sound effect playing, which is of the dice rolling, as Azim showed within the demo. And we have this stored in the function hit button push. So essentially what happens is every time the hit button is pushed, we play the audio file dice.mp3, and then this is the dice sound effect. So every time the button is pushed, the sound plays.
So the next aspect that we want to talk about is the animations of the game. So essentially, the main one of the aspects that we have here is this section right here, the function built for resetting the dice image. And what this is a function that we can call to, which will set a bunch of images of dice to 0, and then reset the value of what round 1. Now, the reason for this is because what round is kind of like a index of which round or which dice to place on, turn on in in the series of dice images we have here. And then in the other part of the index is determining which dice to show, which is the dice that is rolled when you click hit. And that is determined in the section where we talk about the player's turn, if I can find it here. Right here. So this is the section where we construct the determination of who's going at a time. So if a player's number is equal to the player's turn, then it will be their turn to go. So here, new roll is equal to Randy 1 through 6 and a 1 1. So that is a calling out for a random number from 1 through 6 and giving back a one element array. And after that, we have a bunch of cases that check if what the value of the roll is and what round it is. The round is added up right here, where we add 1 to it after each pass of the function. And if, for example right here, if the number is equal to 4 and it's round 2, then it will turn dice 4 player 1 2.
Hello, so I will be going over the code for how our table works. So here you can see this is just basically creating the table and initializing it with two values, A and B. A is the wins value for player 1 and B is the wins value for player 2. And then we go up and you can see here is where the table is being updated under the determine winner function. And so A and B are still here again, and then the table has A and B in them, and then depending on what the value, if who wins, the A or B is updated and sent to here. So I will be going over our GUI right now. So as you can see, this is what our GUI looks like, and if we go to the design view, you can see this is just a label box. Here's a label box again, and then this is a button that you can press, and these are radial buttons right here, player 1 and player 2. And then the wins sheet is like a table that you use. These are our animations. These are scores with some text in it to update the scores, and the hit and the stand are buttons again. Thank you.